All right, they were worried about something like this violence erupting along the border of Venezuela and Brazil today. You might recall that Nicolás Maduro, the ruling president, had shut down that border so that aid couldn't come in. Well, 2 people were killed in this melee today, more than a dozen others injured. And all of it hits the fan again tomorrow when Juan Guaido, the leader we recognize, the opposition leader we recognize as the new leader of Venezuela, forces the issue and brings thousands of his closest friends to make sure that that aid can get in. So how's this all going to go down? Let's go to retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel and Congressman Allen West. Always good to see you, Colonel. Thank you for coming.
Pleasure. Thanks, Neil. Thanks for having me.
What do we do? I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's a lot of our aid that's sort of stuck at these blockade points. And it sounds like Guaido is going to try to force the issue and make sure folks get it. Then what?
Well, I think one of the key things we need to be pushing the United Nations to be ready to send some type of force in there to make sure that people are not being starved to death. This is an international incident that we're looking at today because other countries are involved. The other thing is that Nicolás Maduro has been put in a really bad box right now because if he continues to enact violence against unarmed innocent civilians that are just looking to get food and medical aid, then he does put himself in the position that we all know that he is a socialist dictator and a despot. And then any other country that aligns with him, well, they're in that same position as well, such as Iran and Russia and even Cuba. So I think that you're looking at the international community has to be able to make a response to this, and not just the United States of America, but we need to be prepared to provide whatever support that we can.
All right, you reminded me last time we chatted that you want to know who gets through this process. Look who has the military with them. And right now, Nicolás Maduro does. Although today, another high-ranking former top general, Hugo Carriel, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, had indicated that it's high time for Nicolás Maduro to go. He is urging just that and other military leaders to follow him. Do we need to see a lot more of that?
Well, of course you do, because the thing is, these generals are starting to realize that, without a doubt, Nicolás Maduro has a golden parachute. As a matter of fact, much of his resources and gold are already maybe being shipped out to Russia and elsewhere. But they're going to be left behind, and they're going to be held accountable, and what happens for them. And when you look at the rank and file of the military, that the money is starting to dry out, and maybe even their families are the ones that are starving, those generals are not going to be able to continue to make those soldiers obey their orders, which they don't see as being lawful or just anymore.
What I worry about, Colonel, is what happens when someone calls the order, whether it's from Maduro's office or not, shoot to kill, if anyone tries to get their hands on that aid tomorrow.
Well, that's where I think you're going to see a bit of an issue. You know, are these really soldiers of the Venezuelan army, or could they be some of these Cuban agents that have been sent down there to try to provide some type of protection and also a buffer for Maduro to keep him safe? So I think that's a critical issue. But I don't think the rank and file military will want to turn their guns on their own citizens and take their lives. And then the other thing is, you can see Maduro allow this aid to come in, but then he just confiscates it later and tries to control it. And that's what we saw back in Mogadishu, Somalia, with the warlord Mohammed Farid Adid.
And we know how that turned out. We've got to be very careful. Colonel, thank you very, very much.